I think we would probably agree if you look around at most people and in most people's lives, the sexuality is oftentimes ignored, oftentimes really put down in their lives, and people have all kinds of ideas about their sexuality that is against themselves. I mean, we have culture, we have a world, we have families where people have learned to be against their own bodies. And that kind of, really what I call it is insanity of being against what is the most natural, beautiful quality of ourselves, has been made into all kinds of unnatural and even perverted kind of ideas about sexuality. And what we're saying about sexuality is that it's simply very beautiful, very sacred, very holy and natural. And so when the workshops, what we explore throughout the entire weekend is how can we get back in touch with the feelings in our body? How can we just get back in touch with the essence of who we really are?
Big job.
Oh, but it is a fun job. I really had no idea, what I was in store for. I really had no idea that sex was natural or good. In fact, I was absolutely terrified. I had really no experience in my life from anyone. I never had a teacher. I never had anybody explain to me anything about sexuality. It was just sort of assumed that, you'd kind of figure it out along the way. And so when I first heard, in the first time, I heard one of my teachers say that your sexuality is natural, it's good, and it is yours. I felt this resonance of truth in my being. And since then, for the last 15, 16 years, I've been exploring that the truth of who I really am is far greater than who I was pretending to be. So really, the sacred sexuality is about coming into your own body, coming into your own connection with spirit, coming into your own way of relating with people in a deeper way. Many people experience sex on a very surface level.
A sort of wham, bam, thank you, ma'am kind of approach to it. You've heard that before?
Yeah, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It's just a quick thrill. It's just a quick release. Really, I say it's sort of like, you have a flat tire, and sexuality is just you sort of puncture a hole in the tire and everything, gets released. Well, what I say about that is you can do that, maybe once or twice, but, continue a lifetime of that kind of sex where there's just a quick thrill, a quick flash, and certainly the woman is oftentimes, she's just left in just far greater capacity inside to feel far greater waves and waves and waves of energy. And the man too is just, living on a very shallow expression of himself, a very minor expression of himself. And yet what I found that universally everybody wants to feel that deeper, that much greater, more expansive part of themselves, where they can feel the waves of pleasure in their body moving and lasting and reaching into deeper and deeper places inside of themselves.
And not be ashamed?
And not be ashamed. And
interesting concept.
And it's not, anyone can do that.
You mentioned things like feeling it right through your being. You mentioned things like spirit. So I suspect that there's more to this than simply saying, well, folks, line up. Here's the things you can do with your bodies to make this work for you. There's got to be more to it.
Yeah. First of all, people have to get clear inside of themselves of what their sexuality is even about for them. What were they brought up with? What are the things that other people told them? What were the things that they borrowed from people about sex that have absolutely nothing to give them, that make no sense at all and give them no pleasure? What are those borrowed things? Get clear about things that people told you and things that you grew up with, and find out, are they really true? Is that really who I am? Is that really what my body would like to feel and experience, or my mind like to know? So there's a lot in the sacred sexuality that has to do with becoming clear about sexuality, letting go of some of that shame, letting go of the inhibitions and the guilt that are burdens and weighted down so that people, you can see it in their bodies, you can see it in their faces. They're not happy. They're not feeling alive. We don't say in sacred sexuality that this is what you should do sexually and this is what you shouldn't do. What we say is, get back in touch with your own being.